guys, it's Marietta, and today is day 3, the law of intuition, where I'm going to talk about the importance of following your intuition instead of your brain. And I actually want to start with this quote that you probably know from Steve Jobs that says, "Have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become." Steve Jobs. Now, I'm working with chapter 3 of my book, Love is the Law. If you are just joining this challenge, I suggest that you check out the book and the exercises at loveisthelaw.com. And let's get to it. So, why is it so hard for us to listen to intuition? Why is it so difficult? Now, I'm kind of, again, talking from my own experience, because the way I wrote this book was based on intuition. It was literally based on the guidance that I was receiving, based on internal guidance that I was receiving. But for those who know me, you guys know that I'm a lawyer, I'm trained to think in analytical way and so on. So it was very hard for me to actually listen to my own intuition, especially when I received the guidance, when I was writing the book. And after I was done, then my intuition was telling me to publish the book. Well, it took me a couple of years finally to push myself and to trust this intuition. And so what is this intuition? Well, it's a voice that is within you. It's your soul speaking to you. And oftentimes we don't listen. We don't listen because we ignore this voice. We think that this voice is not real. We think that what is real is only what we can see, what we can analyze, what we can touch, right? So many times we don't trust this voice. We think that this voice within is just made up and it's not real, and we are scared to follow intuition. And I learned based on my experience that every time I would not follow my intuition, sooner or later my intuition would literally make me to trust, make me to follow it, because I would experience detours, as we all do, and these detours would later on, obviously these detours were necessary lessons, but looking back, if I would just listen right away, I would avoid many of these detours. Now, so the question is, why is it so hard to listen to intuition, and is it even real? Well, it's hard because it's the programming. It's the programming we all have. It's the programming that we think that some voice within you, it's not real. And, many times we think what's real is only what logically makes sense, right? But some voice within your head, it's probably not real. And intuition always speaks to you in a very soft way. So many times we don't even know it's there. So how do you actually open up to this intuition? Again, nothing new that I'm going to share with you, through meditation. And I want you to challenge yourself every single day. Meditate at least 5 to 10 minutes. And when you do that, open up to that voice, because that voice will definitely come to you. It's gonna speak to you when you open up and when you decide to listen. When you decide to open up and you decide to listen, it's gonna find you, it's gonna come to you, and you will be given directions and instructions. And then it's your job to be brave enough to actually follow this voice, to follow this intuition. Because, again, speaking from my own experience, I would get these downloads, right? I would download the book, and then the next thing was that I need to implement, obviously, that I need to publish the book. But I would ignore it. I would ignore it because I was scared. And so that's the truth of intuition. Many times what is coming through this intuitive voice is something that is not comfortable. It's something that is outside of the box. It's something that is not easy for your ego. And that's so important to acknowledge, because that's exactly what you need to do. Your intuition is leading you home. Your intuition is your internal compass. It's the voice from God, if you want to call it this way, or it's the voice from your higher self that knows better. Your lower self, in other words, your ego, is very limited, and only certain things you can understand through ego. But your higher self is connected with the universal intelligence, is there, and knows things that you cannot possibly understand. And so if you want to really align with happiness, with the true path, with your soul calling, you need to be brave enough to really listen to this voice, internal voice, this intuition that speaks to you. And oftentimes, like I said, it's not going to speak loudly. It's just going to be internal, like very subtle voice that you need to recognize. And because of that, it's very good to just sit and meditate and create a space. In that space, you can recognize that voice. And then I want you to play with this. Like, you don't have to follow this law of intuition if you don't trust this law of intuition. But I want you to play with it, because only when you play with it, when you test it out in your own reality, you can see if it works. Like, you don't have to trust me, you don't have to do what I'm saying, you can just play with it. So, for example, one day you're going to receive this intuitive instruction to do something, and I want you to just acknowledge that it's there and then do it and see what happens. The other day, I want you to receive this instruction, intuitive guidance, and just completely ignore it. And play with these two different scenarios and see what comes. See what result you will create in your reality. Because only when you play with it, when you really test it out, you can see if it works. You can see if you can trust it. And like I said, your ego wants to protect you. So your ego literally is here to protect you. And so every time you're stepping to the unknown, outside of the box, the ego is there protecting you, right? But the truth is, ego is very limited, so ego cannot really protect you, right? So you have to sort of explain to your ego, it's okay to trust this intuition, it's okay to trust this voice. So every time you, for example, you have this new idea and you know it just feels right, it feels right in your heart, but you are scared to execute it, you are scared to follow the guidance. Just play with it, literally play with it. You don't have to follow it, play with it. One day you can follow it, the next day you don't, and see what happens, see how you feel. Because you need to create the trust, you need to build the trust with your own self, the lower self, which is your ego, and then you can change, right? Now, in my life, I know that law of intuition always guided me to places, to things, to people where I need to be. Right, Lucina? You were guided to come to LA. That's how we met. I see you are here. So, sometimes we cannot even imagine the things that will come out of this intuition. If we follow it, if we really follow it, if we really trust it, then it's going to bring us to places. It's going to help us to meet people that we need to meet, and so on. So don't be afraid to trust it. Really test this concept, see if it works for you, and then decide if you're going to trust the intuition, law of intuition, if you're going to apply it or not. Now, I do want to give you homework, guys, and the homework basically is going to be very simple. Again, simple meditation. Lucina is saying yes, yeah, totally. Otherwise, I would never meet you, right? Like, we met in LA because you followed that intuition, the guidance that was coming. And oftentimes the guidance is not coming if you are in your beta state, if you are thinking, high beta state, thinking too much, analyzing too much. It's not coming. It's going to come when you do nothing, when you meditate, when you're in a relaxed state, just chilling, you know what I mean? Relaxing. It's not going to come when you're working. Like, I never get this intuitive guidance when I'm, for example, practicing law. Like, I'm talking to my clients and working on these cases. It's not coming. It's coming when I'm really just relaxed, doing maybe chilling by the pool, reading a book, or taking a shower or bath. Like, it comes really when you don't expect it. Because otherwise, how can you would not be surprised. Like, universe will always surprise you, and it surprises you when you actually show that trust that you have for universe, right? And the way you show the trust is when you actually really, really follow that and trust that it's guiding you. Yes, I was fully open to that by then. Totally, right? And that's why I said, like, you need to do these exercises. Like, you need to play with this law, the law of intuition. Because if if you are someone who is super, analytical, and you don't really trust this internal guidance, first of all, you might not even hear this internal guidance because it's speaking to you, but you don't even know it's there. And second of all, you're not trained to listen to it, meaning like your ego is protecting you again, so you won't act upon it, right? Because you're scared, simply. You don't trust that this is real voice. So you need to train yourself. And the way you train yourself is really when you actually go out there and test it out. Like, for example, Lucina, she had the calling to go to LA for this seminar where we met, and that's how we actually met and became great friends. But if she wouldn't listen to it, she would never do it, right? So, you just have to, and then again, like, if that happens, that is going to be your confirmation. Oh my God, this really works. And that's how you're going to build the trust it's a trust between your higher self and your lower self. It's a relationship you need to create and integrate the higher self with the lower self. Does it make sense what I'm sharing here? When you listen to your inner child. Well, yes, I think inner child has a lot to do with it's who you are, but I'm not sure if inner child is guiding you. What do you mean by that, Lucina? I want to know what you think. And yeah, so basically, what I want to give you as a homework is this simple short exercise where you sit every day for 5 to 10 minutes and you're just going to ask this question, show me the way, show me what you want me to do today. And you're going to be receiving the guidance. The guidance will show you what to do, where to go. And then I want you to play with it. I want you to test it. Listen to the guidance and see what happens. And the other day you don't have to. And again, compare. Write down your notes and compare these notes. Because you need to sort of create a proof to yourself. And when you have a solid proof, you write it on a piece of paper, then you can compare it, and then you can start trusting more and more and more and more. And again, this is your process. It's a process. It's internal process. It's not going to happen overnight. But trust that intuition will lead you home. It's going to lead you where you belong. And I remember the time when I did the Bali retreat, silence meditation retreat. Literally, my intuition told me during those days, 10 days in silence, after a retreat, just listen to intuition, follow it. And I did it. I was brave enough to just go with the flow and follow the intuition. And I end up traveling Thailand, China, literally Philippines. I was on the go. All my stories are in my book, Love is the Law. If you're interested, you can definitely read them there. But it was adventure, and because the soul is free, wants to be free, and wants you to have this lifetime experience, and it's just up to you to really listen and tune in. So that's what I got for you guys. For those who don't have the book yet, you can get the book at loveisthelaw.com, and make sure to follow the instructions. You can get the bonuses, you can get the free PDF, and you can start working with the book. Because again, like, I am actually working with the exercise section in each chapter, at the end of each chapter. And so I want you to start working with it, because like I said, if you don't really apply this, nothing's gonna shift in your life. And I want you to really, really shift. I want you to activate that inner genius, that potential that is there, hidden, waiting to be awakened, so we can all uplift humanity. So that's that for today. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Tomorrow, I'm doing live stream at 1 p.m. Pacific. Today I did it earlier because I have other things to do, but stay tuned for tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm talking about the law of flow, which is kind of connected with law of intuition, but it's slightly different. And I'm going to break it down for you, so we're going to have fun tomorrow with the law of flow. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.